Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom with Nathan Drinkard. I'm Jay Wise. Thanks for spending some of your time with us. We're on Anchor, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on all those outstanding platforms where you can find us. And you can also find us on the A Drink of Wisdom YouTube channel for the excellent visual video format of this show. What's going on, Drink? How we doing, man?
They doing good, man. I can't complain. Amidst all the, you know, let's dare I say chaos we got going on in today's world. I'm still blessed. I'm still happy. I'm glad we here doing the show. But as always, y'all know what time it is. Hey, we say what they don't, see what they want, and let's talk some sports, baby.
And here we go, where we make sense of all that chaos. In episode 46, the Nets beat the Pelicans. The NFL draft is approaching, and we react to yesterday's high-profile jury verdict from Minnesota. We'll begin tonight's show with an important win for the Golden State Warriors as they defeated the Eastern Conference leading Philadelphia 76ers 107-96 on Monday night. Steph Curry dropped 49 points, continuing his recent splendid play, also making 10 three-point baskets. Joel Embiid led the 76ers with 28 points and 13 rebounds, but had a little bit of an off night from the floor. Sixers did not have Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris due to an illness and a sore right knee, respectively. The Warriors have now won 5 of 6 and have moved to 9th place in the West, just one game behind the 8th place Grizzlies. The loss for Philly snaps their 4-game winning streak, but they still hold a half-game lead over Brooklyn for the top seed out east. All right, Drake, we've talked about the 76ers quite a bit lately, but Monday was all about Steph Curry. Do you ever wonder how good the Warriors would be with a healthy Klay Thompson?
Absolutely not, because I know how good they'll be with a healthy Klay Thompson. Here's the deal. If Golden State can manage this with just Steph Curry, only imagine what they could do with the other half of the Splash Brothers. Did I say Splash Brothers? Because they wasn't called the Splash Brothers for nothing. You got to do some splashing to be one of them. So, with that said, it's hard for me to believe that they wouldn't be a better team. They wouldn't be a top 4 team in the Western Conference. Because think about it, you would have a healthy Steph, a healthy Klay, and a healthy Draymond. Now I got it, Draymond ain't living up to the snuff he once did in the past. I got it, but as a third option or a fourth option, because you probably will go to Andrew Wiggins first as far as scoring go. As a fourth option, I think Draymond is perfect for that. Because he would do all the dirty work. He's your tough guy. He's your dirty work guy. So Klay will go back to being your primary defender, your 3-point shooter, and Steph will do what Steph do. Control the offense, shoot them things from the parking lot. You know what he got. So with that said, this team would definitely be better. Now, would they be the Golden State of old? I don't think so. I think they need some more pieces. But I do think the guys that we look at now on Golden State and we're like, these dudes ain't it, I think they would be more valuable if you had a Klay Thompson back in the fold. Draymond, his play, I think, would be more valuable if you had Klay back in the fold. Kevon Looney, Kelly Oubre, I think the kid Wiseman, he gets to play in a more I'm new to the NBA role rather than, hey, man, we drafted you number 1 overall. You know what time it is. Or, number 2 overall, my bad. So, with all that said, this team would be better. Why? Because roles would be more defined, and we know what that trio can do. We don't got to think about what that trio can do. We know what that trio can do. And we know just the duo, if you want to just keep it with the Splash Brothers, we know that is record-breaking stuff, folks. You know what I'm saying? This ain't just the run-of-the-mill average. That's record-breaking stuff. So to answer your question, they will be a different team with Klay Thompson, to be honest with you. They will be the Golden State that we once knew, I think, with Klay Thompson playing. Now, as far as the 76ers go, listen, it was just one of them nights. No Ben Simmons again. Joel Embiid, he comes out here. He don't, you know what I'm saying? He's still Joel Embiid, don't get me wrong. But this time he just couldn't pull out the Superman cape. He needed more help, as you can see. He didn't know, he probably didn't roll up to the arena and know that Steph was going to do what Steph do, So on most nights, the performance that the 76ers gave, Mike can pull you a dub. It can get you a win. But when you out here with the NBA Jam, he's on fire, folks. You know what I'm saying? It's a wrap. Go ahead, put a bow on it. Call it what you call it, but it's a wrap. But one thing I do want to point out, and I brought this up, we got to talk about something. We got to talk about these free throws, man. So I was told by someone that, sometimes when you're explaining something, it's always good to have a visual aid. So I brought me a visual aid to the set. All right, I got this nice, decorative donut here, and what I'm gonna do here is, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna look at, a few players from the 76ers, mostly the starters, that shot 0 free throws. That's a donut, folks. I'm just gonna take a nice edible bite, from this donut. For the guys, rest in peace to the fact that they didn't even get to the free throw line in the game. So, one, Steph Curry. How you say Seth Curry? Sorry. No disrespect to Steph, but Seth Curry, right? 0 from the free throw line. All right. Matisse Thybulle, what do you do? 0 for 0 from the free throw line. All right. Danny Green, what do you know? Oh, 0 from 0 from the free throw line. All right then. Clark Moss. What's his name? France or something like that?
I think it's Furcon.
Furcon? All right. Clark Moss. What you do from the free throw line? 0 from 0 from the free. All right. Thank God they ain't got too many. I'll be here eating this whole donut. My point is this. That ain't gonna cut it. That ain't gonna cut it. How do Embiid go 11 from 14 from the free throw line, and then the rest of the starters don't even look like they shoot free throws at all? That's what that tells me is the 76ers spent too much time on the perimeter. That's what it tells me. Either that or the referees was giving them a straight whack job. But as I remember when I was watching the game, no one was complaining about the referee. Well, like the media and the commentators and all that. They weren't complaining about the referees not making calls. So if that's the case, you're just not being aggressive. You're just out here just jacking up shots, and you don't get any whistles. Oh, but the guy that was aggressive, Joel Embiid, 11 to 14. He actually went to the free throw line. So I don't know. Maybe this is just one of those nights. The 76ers just didn't have it, or, Ben Simmons wasn't there. And I don't know. No Tobias Harris, no Ben Simmons. I don't know. Maybe they was off a little bit. But for all the kudos we've been giving the 76ers, they can't start with this trend of, coming in there and just mailing it in, per se. You're like, they coming in here just letting Golden State kind of take care of business. Listen, I think the 76ers can beat the Nets in the 7-game series. I honestly believe that. But they gotta do better than this. And it's just one game in the regular season. I got it. I ain't saying the world is on fire. But what I am saying is, for what we know of the 76ers, they can get in modes in the past where they seem lethargic, they seem they're dragging, they're not into it. And what I don't want, and I hope Doc Rivers is paying this attention, because your two stars are the main culprits of this, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. He needs to make sure that whatever happens, they need to stay engaged. And whatever roles they was having in the beginning of the season, even though they're not playing, you can always provide leadership from the sideline. He needs to make sure this team stay engaged, because I don't like this type of performance, especially going towards the end of the season. Once again, one game, no harm, no foul, but I just felt like I gotta say that when I see so many donuts on the free throw line. And then you have, I know people like, why do you care so much? Because that shows a lack of aggression. You're not gonna win with a lack of aggression. I'm telling you that right now. You're not gonna win. You can't make Joel Embiid the only person that know how to drive the ball consistently. You just can't do that. So with that said, Not to take the shine off Steph, because he definitely deserve it. But before I get passed over to you, I do have a question for you. I know this kind of, right off the cuff or whatever, but I gotta do it. If you was voting MVP, where would Steph be in your MVP ballot?
It's tough. The MVP is generally speaking, it has a lot to do with not only individual success but team success. And because of where the Warriors sit right now in ninth place, it's going to be. I couldn't imagine a situation where he wins the award unless they just get crazy hot and just all of a sudden vault way up in the standings. But I'd have to say, just off the cuff, I couldn't. I don't think you can put him any higher than third. I think Embiid has been the best player all year. I know he's missed a lot of time, but the Sixers have, by and large, they've been in first place in the Eastern Conference. And I think what Nikola Jokic has done is quite remarkable. And he, with the loss of Jamal Murray, if the Nuggets can stay afloat where they are, or maybe even move up, if they can move up another spot, he'll also have a compelling case because he's been healthy throughout the season. So just off the cuff, I don't think you can put him any higher than third. But because of all the other superstars who are, normally in the hunt for the MVP, such as LeBron James, such as James Harden, guys like that, they don't have the best case because of their health status. And because of that, you could have a situation if Steph Curry can continue this, that maybe you could vote him third. I think that could be something reasonable because he's been absolutely splendid. And I think, you could always have maybe a little bit of recency bias. The things you have seen happen most recently, your second half, how a team finishes, they can likely be in the forefront of a voter's mind. So, but I think because the team has just had such an up and down year, which speaks to the fact that they're a 500 team, I think you'd have a tough time convincing people that you could, put him above the Joker or Joel Embiid. But I think, in reference to what we were discussing earlier, I do wonder about this, which is why I put this in here, because I think it's just what has happened to Klay Thompson is just, I think it's a basketball tragedy. I hope that he's able to eventually get back on the floor. He's really had some bad luck lately. And I always look at the early days of the Splash Brothers, where they really burst onto the scene in Steve Kerr's first year as head coach, when they just unlocked how good they could play. You had Draymond Green being your secondary playmaker. What they were able to do, and I think I would even put those first two seasons before they got Kevin Durant, I think, and this is obviously based on what I've been able to view in my life, that is, I've never seen a more beautiful brand of basketball be played. A lot of people, it's because it happens from time to time when you have a team that has sort of a dynasty and they win all the time. You get a little tired of it eventually, but I've never been tired of watching them play basketball because they always play the right way. They're unselfish. The ball movement is always splendid, and we've been a little shortchanged lately with that. So I eventually hope he gets back, but I do agree with you. I think a healthy Klay Thompson. Now you have both Splash Brothers. You put the pressure on the defense because they can't just zone in on one guy, which is hard enough. But now you have to account for both of them. Plus Klay Thompson, he's also an elite defender. So he's one of those rare guys like a Jimmy Butler or Kawhi Leonard that can do elite work on both ends of the floor from the perimeter. He just off the top of my head, I'd probably put him third behind those two fellas right there. So that they would no question, I think, be significantly better. I don't think they probably wouldn't be the team that they were in those dynasty years, especially with Kevin Durant, because I don't think the depth that they have is of the same quality. Guys like Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, they just don't have the veteran kind of leadership and moxie that they used to have, that they could pull from their bench to keep the pressure on guys. They don't have the Hampton 5 desk lineup. They don't have that going. So that will, in the end, I think, determine how much when Klay comes back, how good they can be. but they're good. As these guys age, that depth will become more and more important. But it's going to be interesting as we continue to move forward in this play-in situation, because you got to think if things move forward as they are, and you get in a situation where it's a Memphis and Golden State matchup for the final playoff spot, if Golden State was able to beat the 10 seed in that first game, that's a worrying situation. That's a worrisome situation for a Memphis team, because
Golden State gonna win.
Because,
And I just want to slide this in because that's a good point about the play-in. If they make it in the play-in tournament and Andrew Wiggins decide he wants to come along with Steph, I think they're the best team that's going to be in that tournament. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think out of between 8, 9, 10, because I think Dallas is firmly in the field, right. But out of whoever is 8, 9, and 10, as it stands now, I believe it's Memphis, Golden State, and San Antonio. I mean, nobody has a player better than Steph Curry in that 3 teams. I mean, we absolutely like Ja Morant. Memphis is a force to be reckoned with. Dylan Brooks is no joke. Eventually we expect Jaren Jackson to be back, but when in a 1-game scenario, coach definitely got to give an edge to Steph Curry over Steve Kerr over Taylor Jenkins. But yeah, in a 1-game scenario, you'd have to bet the house on Steph Curry if you had to. But yeah, for Philly, I think this was way more significant for Golden State because they've been just so up and down and so streaky. They're on a bit of a hot streak right now, and they need it if they want to make the playoffs. It's one of those nights of Philly. I mean, every great team has them from time to time, and when you have a player, an individual that has been this hot, Steph Curry he's averaging 41 points a game this month. He's averaging 45 points in his last 5. He's made 10 or more threes in 4 of the last 5 games. I mean, this is stuff that you just don't see at all or often or at all. He's playing at an unbelievably high level. Hard to believe, hard to figure how long you can sustain this. But when you have a team who, maybe they're looking ahead to the next game, we do know they get the Bucks tomorrow night. We'll be talking about that on Friday. So, maybe you're looking ahead a little bit. You're not taking them seriously. We know Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris did not play in this game. Joel Embiid, the numbers are good, 28, 13, and 8, but a little bit of an off night from the floor. And I think the free throw shooting, we in here with the donut jokes, but that's a real thing though. I mean, there's some weird statistical anomalies. I mean, not only does Embiid take 14 of their 18 free throws, but no starter outside of Embiid shoots a free throw. You have three starters that don't grab a rebound. Mike Scott started this game. I know he didn't play a lot, but he didn't contribute at all. You talk about donuts. I mean, this guy got donuts across the board. No points, no rebounds, no assists, no steals, no blocks. Did pick up 1 foul.
Shout out to you, Mike Scott.
Take 5 bites for that one. I like Mike Scott too. That's like the first UVA grad that came out under Tony Bennett, I believe. That's neither here nor there, legitimately. But at least he was a plus 11. But yeah, some weird things and some weird things statistically in this game for Philly. They got out rebounded in this game. That's a rarity. That's not something you think of when you think of Philadelphia. I know they're not as big a team as they were last year, but Embiid and Howard, you have both of them. You think you could control the glass. They didn't in this game. And Golden State, we think of them as a little bit of an undersized
small
team.
Time. Yeah, small time.
So that's a little bit weird. Maybe for this game, they got a little bit too in love with the perimeter game. But in the end, I don't think either one of us are all that concerned in Philly. I absolutely agree with your assertion that Philadelphia can beat Brooklyn in a 7-game series. And we'll get into Brooklyn in just a little bit. But definitely, this was way more important for Golden State than it was for Philly.